Hello, everyone. My name is Sandy Glaze. I am a personal transformation and self-development coach. Today is February 4th, 2021. We are in the middle of a lot of insanity right now, and I just wanted to share some insights of what I have seen that is happening and maybe give some pointers of what to do about this. So I'm going to label this one the Poseidon Adventure of modern day times. And what is happening right now is we have been, when you think back to the movie, The Poseidon Adventure, it was about a cruise ship and they were on holiday and I believe they were celebrating New Year's. And what had happened, the party was great. Everybody was having a great time. Think of the last 150 years while people have been unconscious thinking everything is normal. Now what's happened, the tidal wave has hit and the boat is upside down. And now people have decisions to make. The survival of their consciousness is what's at stake in the real world. But in the movie, people had a choice of whether they went down to the bottom of the boat, which means they climbed down the upstairs, the staircases to lower levels, or they went up to the boiler room, which was now at the top of the wave where the boat was on the water, and try to go that route. Doesn't matter what route you take, everybody's got to make their own decisions on this. But the point is, it is your decision to make. So if you have family or loved ones, or even just people you know, and you find each other and you say, no, let's go this way. And they say, no, let's go this way. Would you go the way that you know is going to kill you and absolutely destroy you? And the metaphor here is the Poseidon Adventure movie. But what the point is there's a lot of people right now who are really confused, really uncertain of what to do. So they're reacting almost out of like rote instinct, like they're not even thinking, they're just acting out of what they know. And you have to decide if that's the path you want to take or you want to take your own path. So some things have been happening lately. People we're going to see this divide happening. The bifurcation is happening. So I'm very optimistic about what I see happening. I'm going to say in the United States, I see the movie set. I see what's going on behind the scenes. I see the games. So I'm not in that circle, so I can't do anything at that level. But who says we can't do things at whatever level we're at to help bring the changes through? And to do that, in my opinion, is raising consciousness, raising awareness as to what is going on. So, I talked about the Poseidon Adventure. I'm also going to say what I see happening right now. It's like we're in a video game. We're in a simulation. And I don't play video games, but my understanding of video games is there's traps and there's rewards. And it's up to you to figure out which ones are the traps in your life and which ones are the rewards. So it's not just that the psychopaths at the top of the food chain, what we see, the financial markets or the any of the system, the political system, it's not just them, it's all the way through. There's good and there's evil. And I really don't care what side anybody is on. I just want people to be able to see how to tell what side somebody's on. So I'm going to give a couple examples of things that have happened recently. When I think I've talked about this one, when the election was stolen by Biden and the boys or whoever, somebody sent me a message on social media and said, how are you making out with all this going on? So she fancies herself, I'm going to say fiscally sophisticated, which in some ways she is, in some ways she isn't. But it was just that little, she had to put the dig into me. And I said, what are you talking about? And she wrote back to me, actually wrote this back to me. No, just wondering how you're doing through all this. Your dog died and I still have my daughter and my husband. And I'm going to call this out right now. What a fucking bitch to do that. So this is what this war that we're in right now, the divide of consciousness, is about. The genuine, nurturing, loving, caring people, and the people who will sting and hurt you and do whatever they can to knock you down to maintain their illusion of whatever this reality is. Maybe they have a bit of money and they have financial security, so they don't want anything to change. So it's easier to take you down. A lot of people are coming to me right now saying their family's hurting them, friends are hurting them. You're going to find out who your friends are. It's not up to you to tell them what to do, but it's up to you to decide how much crap you're going to take from them. I work with a lot of people who underesteem themselves. I'm going to jump here a bit. I don't know how else to do that with touching on everything I want to talk about. But I work with people who underesteem themselves. And there's a big push right now for service for others. The people who underesteem themselves and take crap from others, that message, in my opinion, isn't for you. You're already caring about other people. What you don't know how to do is how to protect yourself and care about yourself and make yourself as much a priority as you make other people. And then that allows them to sting you because you won't fight them back. Rule number 3, if somebody's got to leave miserable, it might as well be the other guy. Rule number 2, be the best person you can be. And if they're treating you like crap, give it back to them. Because if you don't, you're creating an imbalance of energy that's letting them get away with this stuff. And if anybody thinks this isn't throughout the whole system, they're not paying attention. It is in the financial services markets. Look what just happened with GameStop. They shorted, the hedge funds shorted GameStop because they want the markets to fall so that they can make profit when the markets tank. Where's your average financial planner telling you this is what's happening? Where's the average regulatory body saying, wait a minute, we need to stop this? They don't do it because they're all game in the game. And if you're not paying attention, you're not even aware they're game in the game. But this is starting, this is what the big changes are going to be. This is what the tidal wave that's coming, that's flipping. So it's taking a bit of time for things to sort out again and be able to rescue the people who are figuring this out. But understand, this is what you're up against. So I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, and somebody's going on about, you know, oh, I know you're not getting the vaccine. And I'm thinking to myself, why do you care what I do? I didn't ask you if you're getting it. I don't care if you get it. That's your business. But I didn't realize this person had an agenda, that they wanted to be superior to me by, oh, you're not getting the vaccination. And then I talked to them again this week, something else had come up, and I talked to them, and they're telling me about, oh, how anybody who's over age 80 is getting the vaccine. They're getting it first. But the people who are 79, who live with the ones who are 80, they're not going to get it right away, but we don't know if we're going to separate them. And I'm thinking, she doesn't do drugs. Like, she's not on mental health drugs or anything like that. And I'm sitting here thinking, what are you talking about? And then it hit me, people around her, she's telling them, she's advising them to get the vaccine. So I sent her a video. It wasn't a long one. And I said, did you see this? Like, what are your thoughts on this? She ignores me. I sent her another one and said, this doctor says the vaccines are not good. What are your thoughts on this? She ignores me again. These are all the control games. I'm going to show you how to kick ass today, okay? These are the control games. So I sent her a text and said, if you are advising people to get this vaccination, and I listed the number of people, any of these people get it because of your advice, you will be held accountable. You are not in a position to give out medical advice. All of a sudden the phone rings, and then I get, are you okay? So now it's fake concern. These are what fucked up people look like. And many of you have them in your family and you have them in your friends. So in my book I wrote a number of years ago, Ending Global Loneliness, I talk about esteem, and I want to go through the games that people play to try to get you back in control, or give them the opinion that they're, the illusion that they're superior to you. Because this is the nurturing, loving energy that's coming out, that you hold for yourself, that you don't let people push you around, but nor do you cause harm to others. And most, like I said, the people who underesteem, the ones I work with, don't harm others. They're the ones who tend to take it. And that's what I want to suggest people stop taking. So external causes, these people who are doing this to you have low self-esteem. Their own self-esteem is very low, and they have a lot of self-doubt. So people trying to convince you that their lies are the truth. So all of these examples are what came out of this incident. People trying to convince you that they know better than you do what course of action is best for you to take, offering their insight and letting you make, instead of offering their insight and letting you make your own decision. They got to tell you, oh, you're not going to do it, right? People trying to convince you that their agenda should be your agenda. People trying to convince you, to control you or control the outcome of a situation that affects you. People who choose to remain in denial as to a situation and would rather convince you that the situation isn't real in order to keep them from awakening to their own truth. That is big of what's happening right now. People who would like you not to trust yourself, so you will engage in their nonsense. And that basically was this in a nutshell. So when this person called me and says, oh, are you okay, feigning concern? And this person is not a very loving person. So when this happened, I knew what was going on. And I said, have you actually done anything? Like, have you looked at these videos? She starts being, do the research, Sandy. And I said, who the fuck do you think you are that I haven't done the research? I said, you're a sneaky, manipulative, conniving little bitch. Needless to say, she hung up. And that's okay. This has been a long time coming. So then I send another text that says, if this comes out that I'm the one with the problem, this will be going public. We'll do this in the public arena, because she's hoping it's going to stay quiet. So some people might think this is a little harsh on my end. I shouldn't have to go to this degree to defend myself. I didn't even know there was an agenda in the first place about, you're not going to get the vaccine. I doubt you're going to get it. What do you care? And what's happening, people are trying to control other people. And sometimes maybe we've let them have that control in the past and we're not doing it now. But these are just some examples of the lengths people will go to maintain control. So There's women that are doing this kind of thing right now. There's also men doing this. So what I'm finding is the older white guys that are trying to take a run at me and about wearing masks in public, whether I wear one or not, stay your 6 feet away, follow your rules, and get lost. I don't owe you an explanation. But everybody's policing everybody. Everybody's the expert now because they heard somebody say something, or, you know, like it's absolutely insane. So I stop, I go into a store and I walk to the back. I know where I'm going. I know what fridge I want to go into. And I'd seen a car parked beside me. I didn't even look over. So I'm back there and I've got the door open. This guy walks up behind me and tells me, put on my fucking mask. And I turned and I looked at him and I said, did you see them pull children out of the White House last night? And he goes, yeah, and you're probably a Trump supporter. And I said, so you know Trump wants to stop human trafficking. I go, that's a really interesting answer. I said, how many children have you molested? And his eyes went to fear. And I'm like, yeah, you little fucker, you just gave it away. So it's really important that you don't take any crap from anybody. I didn't cause any. So then the owner comes out and goes, what is going on? Because we're yelling at each other. I go back into the fridge and I'm looking through for what I want to get. Well, then he turns and looks at the owner. So he tries to bring the game stalking in. You don't make your customers wear masks in here. And he said, she has an exemption. And I didn't even make eye contact with the owner. I've been in there before. It's not a problem. So I went and picked up my stuff and I went down the back aisle of what I came in and I went up to the cash register. It turns out he wanted to talk about a special order. He didn't even need to come down my aisle to yell at me, but he's got to show he's got balls. Most people suffer from cowardice. That is the biggest obstacle we face, the block of consciousness. So it's fear, but it's cowardice along with the fear. So I could see the cashier was a little rattled and I said, just a minute, I want to grab a dessert here. And I stayed up there, paid for my stuff and left. But this is how crazy people are starting to get. So I have two choices. Am I going to conform to these sniveling little people? I'll tell you right now, I'm not. I was in another store. The guy at the till on the other side of me, there's a big plastic divide. She's not wearing a mask. Why do you care? You've got the divide up, you've got your mask on, but you got to come into my 6 feet of space to tell me I'm not wearing a mask. He goes, no mask, as he walks by me. I go, no brains, meaning him, but I think they thought I meant me. So they all had a good laugh. It doesn't matter, right? And then the cashier goes, I really hope you're going to be okay. It's like, everybody's an expert right now, aren't they? I go, they're all getting it from the media personalities. Are they doctors? He goes, people are just getting it everywhere. And I said, I know. And I said, you have yourself a good day, right? So be prepared not to take any shit, because when you have that energy about you, people aren't going to push. So these guys, I'll tell you right now, they're absolutely spineless. If I was 6'4", 220 pounds and in really good shape, they wouldn't have the guts to go after a man. But they'll go after a female or somebody who's they view as smaller than them because they think they can get away with it, and they're really showing how strong they are. And another one in the grocery store, you're not wearing a mask, this old man. It's like, go fuck yourself. I don't care. So these might seem like I'm being aggressive back, and sometimes you have to be. One of the things I talk to my clients about, and I'm not in anger, I can go into anger, I can pull myself in and out pretty fast. So when you look at this cone of consciousness, anger vibrates at 150, fear vibrates at 100. When you're angry, sometimes you need to get angry to set a boundary. Sometimes when you get angry back, people know you're not taking their shit. Sometimes they'll only take one run at you and they'll leave you alone. But don't feel you got to stand here and be nice and explain to everybody how the vaccines may be a problem. People are going to die. There's no doubt about it, because there's too many people who aren't paying attention to what's going on. That's their business. I don't get to tell them what to do. And I'm not telling anybody here what to do. I'm just giving you some ideas of what to do to stay in your center and not take any crap from anybody. So many manipulations are coming out right now. You're going to probably find out that you have family or maybe longstanding friends that really aren't nice people, but you just never were given the opportunity to see that before. Do you love yourself enough now to say, I'm going to step away from you? Maybe they'll get it. Maybe they won't. Maybe you'll change your mind. Maybe you won't. But it's like the Poseidon Adventure. If people say, no, you want to go up, you want to work your way up to the boiler room and to the hull of the ship, thinking that's going to be on the surface, and people want to go down, what does it matter? Maybe they go down 2 flights and change their mind and come back up. Maybe you go up 2 flights, change your mind and go back down. It's nobody's business but yours what choice you make. And of course, if you have loved ones where you are making the decisions for them, maybe they're your children or you have a power of attorney, then you better know what you're doing. Because if something happens and they start dying 6 months later of whatever, or a year later, you are still accountable. for telling people what to do based on what the media tells you and what your local hospital tells you, because there's enough people who are awake, who are questioning what is going on, that people can't say they don't know anymore. And I do realize money is the false god that's behind a lot of this. People think their net worth is their financial assets. They don't understand that it's their soul, their mind, their heart, their body. That is the connectedness of consciousness. That is where their power is. And I know I've talked about this a few times. I'm gonna come right out and call out the money system. When I'm watching this, what was it, Gabspot? I can't remember the name of the company that they're shorting. You think the hedge fund managers don't know this? So they short it, they sell it, they short it, they make money on the way down, and when everybody sells it, they buy it back, and that's how they get rich. But it's at whose expense? The individual investor's expense. So the whole friggin' system is rigged. The medical system is rigged. The education system is rigged. The financial system is rigged. Mental health is rigged. So now what they're doing in the US, so if anybody hasn't figured out Biden, how fast they're moving to change all this, this is to wake you up. This is to wake up all your stupid relatives and all your stupid friends. So they've even come out with now an anal swab. Like, how ridiculous does this have to get before people start questioning that it's not just an act? So this is all to wake you up. But while everybody's sitting out here fighting and trying to show everybody how they're following the rules and how tough they are, they don't realize that they're the ones being played. So when you look at all the executive orders that Biden is signing, so supposedly, I can't verify this, the Soros type people are buying up all the gun manufacturers and the ammunition manufacturers. They're buying them all up. And now anybody who wants to buy a gun, you have to go through the process and get vetted, which is a good thing. But then now you get to do a mental health check. So what do you think the chances are if you say, I'm worried about what's going on, and I don't think Biden got in, that they're not going to say you're crazy and lock you up for 6 months? You have to know the game. And when I started saying that this is like a video game, like a simulation. So what happens in video games? There's traps, and there's rewards. You have to figure out what situation you're in this reality, which one's a trap and which one's a reward. And like I said, when I show people and go through what other esteem is, how people play these little games, do they know they do it? I'm going to say no. Do you really care? Is it your job to tell them, oh, you're manipulating me? No. But if it comes down to that's going to be what they do, they're trying to manipulate you, then you hold the line. So the person who I discuss the vaccines with, consequence number one, you will be held accountable, even if it's just me making damn sure that you are reminded that you told everybody to get it. I don't care. Second, accountability. If this comes out that I'm the one with the problem, we are doing this publicly. You set the consequences for what the behavior is. You got to treat them like they're 6 years old and grown up bodies, because emotionally, mentally, spiritually, that's what they are. And this might sound like tough love. I don't care. We've got to take some responsibility for what we do, but other people, we got to take responsibility for how much crap we take from other people as well. So a lot of the truthers are feeling pain right now because it looks like nothing is happening. And the people who don't want the change are thinking they're right. You don't have to talk about it. Talk about the weather. Go back to your 3D stuff. Talk about your cooking. Talk about whatever movie you saw. Talk about things that are not significant. You can get through any 3-hour period in your life. But make sure you know who the awake ones are, so that when you're around the awake ones, that you can get what you need and get nurtured and get fed with the love and the respect and the knowing, because it makes a difference the people you hang out with. So I'm not saying I'd rather, I can hang out with some of the normies, but when I know I'm going to be around normies, I just put that energy on that I can talk about inconsequential things. But I also know when I need to be by myself, that I don't want to be around that energy at all. And I just keep to myself. I know when I'm outside, if there's somebody out there, I just don't go out at that time, because then I don't have to explain anything. This is not going to last forever. I think it's going to be another month or so, at least, but it's not going to last forever. But we're going to get through this. But there's no more excuses, especially the man in the store. Oh, you must be a Trump supporter. You want to stop human trafficking. Thanks for being so stupid, because you can no longer say you don't know. And this is the divine feminine energy that's coming back. We can fight like lionesses. We can fight like tigers. We can hold our own, but the gig is up. And if the heartlessness of these women is starting to show, and it is, don't be afraid to let them know that you know that they're not woman enough. And that's a pretty cocky statement to make, but that's the reality of it. So I hope this isn't too in your face today, but I just wanted to get this out and let people know that you're not alone with this. Don't take any shit. If you need any strategies, give me a shout. I'm your girl. You can get a copy of my book on my website, endinggloballoneliness.com. I'm also on Telegram now, Sandy Glaze. They kicked me off Twitter. I don't know why. And I'm on Facebook, Sandy Glaze. So reach out if you want to talk, if you want a 30-minute free consultation to see what I do, because you don't need to be in therapy for the rest of your life if you've gone through things. If you're not sure how to set a boundary, I can show you how to do that. I had people come here one time, one of my clients, and he says, I feel great when I'm around you, but as soon as I get out that door, he goes, I go back to doubting myself. And that's what these people, the people who have low self-esteem, or not low self-esteem, they underesteem, they doubt themselves. And I said, well, thank you for sharing that with me. Get your shoes. And I went and got my shoes, and we went out and we walked around the block. And I had him in his energy bubble and me in my energy bubble. We walked independently, interdependently, and walked around and felt what it feels like to stand in your power outside of the house. It was amazing for him. He never looked back. So you don't have to go into any fancy regimens of therapy or whatever to wake yourself up or to get where you need to be. Just trust yourself that you're going to do the right thing for yourself. And if you need a hand doing it, or you need confirmation that something happened, that somebody's not screwed up, it's not that you go back to them and say, Sandy says you're screwed up. I will show you how to tell if they're screwed up and maybe give you some suggestions for what to say back to hold the boundary. I've had clients, one in particular, they live with an extended family member who was controlling them, and he had to stand on his own and stand up to this person. And what he did was smashed his hand on the counter and said, enough. But that's what the old guy needed to know, that I'm physically not taking your shit anymore, for him to start changing his boundaries. So they both had boundary issues to work on, and it's not judgment. It's about equalizing the power, because if we don't equalize the power, we're just going to have more nonsense going forward. And I honestly don't care if we level up or level down. I can do both. And we're leveling this playing field because humanity has to wake up. I saw this morning, Google Chrome came up that you can get your brain chip so you can interface with your electronics easier. And it's funny, I posted it on my Facebook, and it's like, we're going to thin the herd one way or the other. People choose to do that, to get hooked up to your electronics with your mind so that they can control you. That's your business, but you don't have the right to control others. So anyways, I hope this helps. I hope it's not too long, but I just wanted to share some ideas of how to hold your own, because the insanity is coming. And if you have a pattern of taking other people's crap, they're going to assume that you're still in that loop, but maybe you're not, but you don't know how to stand up for yourself. And this is where, again, service to others, you already are doing service to others. It's about you bringing your service to self up, so that you are doing 50% for you and 50% maybe for other people. I remember one of my clients when I was financial planning, beautiful woman, absolutely loved her. And if we met for an hour, we would talk 20 minutes on the finance, and the rest of it was just fun, right? Talking about each other, or about ourselves to each other. She told me when she was younger, she used to do everything for her siblings. And she goes, I love my father. He pulled me aside one day and says, you notice all these gifts you're buying, you're putting your money into all of your siblings, and you're buying them all these things, and you're doing everything for them. And she said, yes. She goes, he said to her, do they do it back for you? And she said, no. And he goes, then you stop doing it for them. You don't do for somebody else what they won't do for you. Don't make somebody a priority who only views you as an option. And it's time we grow ourselves up. So she took that information and embodied it, and started to care more about herself and look after herself. So not everybody appreciates when you're nice. Some people look at it. I've even seen people look at it that you do something nice for them, they think you're weak because they don't love themselves. And if you care enough about them, then you must be weaker than them for loving them. There's a lot of fucked up people out here that just don't see straight, but you don't have to be one of them. Anyways, so I hope you found this helps. Give me a shout if you need to, and hold the line. We got this. Take care.